Coach will open and we'll get you a mic for questions.
Yeah, good day today. Approached it like it was preseason game one. You know, really tried to allow a lot of different players to get as many reps as we could on tape. Tried not to evaluate over, holistically offense and defensive schemes, more about individuals who can help us play. On the offensive side of the ball, fundamentals, blocking, yards after catch, defensively tackling, physicality, holding point, pass rush ability. And then we did some special team stuff. So a lot of good. I'm sure there'll be a lot of bad. I'm sure there'll be a lot of stuff that we can take off the tape. Just try to get a measuring stick of where we're at after 2 weeks. We'll focus in on this week execution, and then we'll have our next preseason scrimmage, or basically a preseason game, next Saturday under the lights here in Faroe. So took a step today, and with that, I'll open up for questions.
Questions?
Coach, when we talked to you a couple Sundays ago, you said about 2 weeks you'd have an update on Abad. So just where's he been at these couple of weeks, and what's next for him?
Yeah, he's still continuing to do rehab. Nothing really to note. I misspoke then if I said that, because it was really a 5-week block. The 22nd is when we should have that would be the first 5 weeks where we'll sit down with the doctors and evaluate where he's at. So right now he's just, he was out there this afternoon cheering on his teammates. He still is able to get in the walkthrough stuff, but he's progressing in the weight room and in his speed training.
Cal.
Yesterday at practice, it looked like Caden Green wasn't there for the portion we were at. Is there an update on him and where he was yesterday?
I was going to say a joke. No, we just held him out. So, yeah, nothing really to talk about there. Just he's a guy that's played a ton of football, and so we need to, for us right now, it's really about finding who's our third tackle. And the only way you can get the reps you need to see is if you pull somebody. Even in the scrimmage today, we sat a lot of guys. Dom, Caden Lee didn't get any reps. Jamal Roberts didn't get any reps. Defense, Darius Smith, Robert Woodyard, Santana Banner, Chris Graves, guys who have played a ton of football in this league. There was really no reason for us to put them out there in jeopardy. And it's really about developing the other part of our roster. So that was all it is with Caden.
Now,
through the first couple weeks here in the scrimmage, what's, I guess, been your biggest takeaway about Austin and just how he's running this offense so far?
Yeah, just with everybody, there's positives and negatives. I think the thing that I've been appreciative of Austin, he's very coachable. He learns from his mistakes. He doesn't let a mistake bother him. He threw an interception the first drive today and then came back and threw a touchdown. So, I think that's growth. I think it's emotional consistency and maturity. Obviously, we got to take the takeaways off of tape, but he's very coachable, and been appreciative of that.
right here.
In your opening statement, you mentioned special teams. Obviously, there's been a lot of turnover there this year. How do you feel about where that unit is at as we head toward kickoff?
Yeah, obviously, new coordinator. I think JP's done a really good job getting his schemes in, guys buying in to what we're doing. It looks different, feels a little different than what we've done in the past, which is good. As far as the specialists, LeBlanc and Blake are back. We got to get consistency out of Blake. Today was not his most consistent day kicking field goals, which is surprising because he's had 2 really good days before it. So that's just something we got to work. Bruno's been good, but we won't know until we put it all together. But he's been consistently punting the ball well. We just got to make sure our protection and coverage is good.
Gabe.
Eli, you said it's about identifying your third tackle. Does that indicate you feel pretty comfortable with where you are at right tackle, or is that a competition still going on?
I think we feel pretty comfortable with it right now. It doesn't mean somebody couldn't make a jump and force us to reevaluate it, but right now I feel pretty good that Caden and Luke are kind of our starters, and we got to figure out who's our third tackle between Logan and Jack and even Whit Hafer. We've moved Whit around a ton, but he's played tackle the past 2 days, and he's looked really natural at it. So to have that flexibility with him, that he can play all 5 positions, is pretty good.
Back to call.
Coach, we've seen a lot of Kinsley playing that star safety role. What do you think his progression has looked like, having to teach a transfer how to play that position as opposed to having somebody that has kind of come through the system?
Yeah, I mean, he's played star at Auburn, so it wasn't that difficult of a transition. So he's done a nice job. I think he's kind of figuring out what our expectations and standards are, how we approach practice and how we approach the building every day. I think it's been some growth for some of these transfers, understanding just the culture that we have and the standards that we set. But he's adjusted well. I think there's been really good competition. I think C.J. Bass had a really good day, too, at the star position, had a takeaway. So pleased with where that position's going.
Back to Natalie.
What kind of progression have you seen from Langdon Kitchen since he first transferred in to now, obviously taking a bigger step this year?
Yeah, Langdon's been one of those guys that we've asked, him and Darius to take on a bigger role as leaders and really make a jump. And he's done an excellent job. Similar to what Cody kind of went through, being consistent, showing up and demanding of himself, but now having a full year under his belt of exactly what the expectation is. Him and Coach Early have been really focusing on their pass rush and how to create more pass rush, and he's been a nightmare for our guys to block.
There's been a lot of rotation at corner these past couple of weeks from
Yeah.
the parts of practice that media gets to see. What's your
Yeah, I don't get
impression
to
on that
watch
group
any
as
of
a
the
whole?
important parts, but that's okay. What was the question on that?
What's your impression on that group as a whole so far?
Yeah, I think we've got quite a bit of depth. Obviously, Chris Graves has played a ton of football, and he's probably got the best grasp of what we're trying to do on one side. And then the other side, between Sione, Jaleel Florence, Nick DeLoach, Jackson Gates as a freshman has come a long way, Cam Keys. I think there's a lot of ability there, and it's just about who's going to make plays on the ball. Who can cause incompletes and then force takeaways. And so every day we're just continuing to try to get reps and stack fundamentals and see who's going to be that guy for us. But, Sione and Jaleel have been exactly what we had hoped in getting those guys back. I was proud of Sione today. He had a couple of really big tackles on duo play where he was the unblocked guy, and he fit it pretty good. And then Jaleel had 2 big-time plays, one in the red zone, one backed up, forcing incompletion. So it's good stuff.
Do 3 more. We'll start over here on the left.
Eli, with Tristan Wilson, how have you seen him develop over the years, and how do you evaluate where he's at now?
Yeah, Tristan has developed himself into a starter in the SEC and really one of our most versatile players. With Holden Dahm out today, we moved Tristan into the center position, and he handled everything from cadence to snap count to identification, and we didn't really miss a beat. So just impressed with his commitment. He's got a great routine. That group works really hard. They're in here every day at 6 working on their bodies, working on their stretching, and he's a guy that's always putting in extra.
Right next to him on the left.
Coach, what have been your early impressions of Caden Lee throughout fall camp, and what do you think he has to do to take kind of that next step before the season starts?
Yeah, obviously Caden and Austin have a connection from what they've done, and he's got a natural feel and understanding. He's been a really good player in addition for us in the return game. Just consistently catching the ball, making contesting catches. That's our challenge for every wide receiver, but him particularly, just continue to challenge him to play bigger than he is.
Finish up here in the middle.
Coach, I'm curious. I know you touched on how a lot of your returners kind of implement and maintain as pillars of voices for the culture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, out of some of the transfers, who have been the ones that have kind of established themselves as voices of leadership in the locker room?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the biggest thing we talk about with the transfers is be uniquely you, but join us. And being you will never supersede what we've built here as a team and a brotherhood. And I think that message has been really well received. And I think the thing about the transfers is none of them have tried to come in and establish. They've just tried to reinforce the message of the captains. And so guys like Jaden Jones, who's come in and battled some things, he had a health deal this summer and battled, but the way he battled through created respect for him from his teammates, and he's used that respect in a positive way to enforce the culture. I think Caden Lee's been one of those guys too, similar to what Kevin Coleman did. I think Luke Works just worked his tail off, and so he's gained respect of the players. So I think that's the biggest thing is those guys haven't tried to come in and necessarily establish themselves as alphas. It's just how do we just be a part of this culture and continue to enhance it.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all. MIZ.